Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Double Play Podcast. I'm Ryan Donahue, joined today by my boss co-host, Jack Smith. Jack, how was your week, and did you get to watch a lot of baseball this week?
Yes, I spent a lot of time watching baseball this week, feeling healthy after last week, got some good sleep this weekend, had a good Easter yesterday, and I'm excited to talk baseball with you. I remember back in like fifth grade too, when boss was like the coolest word on the planet. So
Yeah,
I appreciate the respect.
of course. And yeah, I got to go home this weekend. It was great to go home. I didn't want to leave, but I'm back, ready to take on these last 2.5, 3 weeks of school before, or 2 weeks before finals. But yeah, I got to watch a lot of baseball, go home, just chilled, watch baseball. So that was fun, and I'm ready to get into today. We're got some quick hitters to go over. We got some success out west, talking about the Dodgers and Giants, and then the Angels as well. And then we're going to get into some overreactions from the first week plus, and talk about if they're overreactions or if not, and maybe they're the real deal. And then at the end, we weren't originally going to do our series locks, but my series locks did not go hot, so I have to do a punishment at the end. So stick around for that. You won't want to miss it. It's gonna be fire. That's a little tease for it. But without any further ado, Jack, you want to get into some success out west?
Well, let's start with the quick hitters, which includes
that's right. I'm getting ahead of myself.
It includes some success out west, which I know you were a fan of, and then not quite a fan of what happened after Clayton Kershaw throwing a perfecto and gets pulled by Dave Roberts, was absolutely dicing up the Minnesota Twins in his first start. But after 7 innings, cannot go back out there. Dave Roberts sits him down in favor of Alex Vesia, and Vesia gives up the perfect game to, I believe it was Gary Sanchez.
It was, yeah. Yeah, so Kershaw, he was just dealing. It was so fun to watch. I was watching the whole game. I was in class most of the time, but I watched the whole game. And I was just like, every time he struck someone out, I was just like, oh my gosh, how is he doing this? Because I haven't seen Kershaw like this in a very long time. And it was so fun to watch. Maybe the most fun I've ever had watching a regular season game. I'd say so. It's just a lot of fun, just like seeing what was happening. It was like the 4th inning. I was going to text you, Jack. I was saying like, oh, Kershaw's dealing, but I didn't want to do anything that could jinx it. So I didn't text you. But then I think it was after 6, I texted you. I said, please turn on the Dodger game. I'm not going to tell you why, but please turn it on. And you respond with, oh my goodness. And then in class, I was just freaking out. And I had the gut feeling the whole time he was going to get pulled. And the Dodgers went back to back to back in the top of the 8th when Treinen was warming up. So I knew Kershaw was pulled at that point, but if they didn't go back to back, maybe Treinen would have came in and maybe they would have got the combo perfecto, which has never happened before. And speaking of that, pitchers with a perfect game have only been pulled twice since I think it was 1908, and both of them were pulled by Dave Roberts. It was Rich Hill in 2016, and then Kershaw this past week. But I had a feeling he was getting pulled the entire game. I didn't want him to, but I knew it was coming. But it was just so fun to see Kershaw deal again, and I understand why, because you want to keep him healthy. But I was being selfish, and I wanted to see at least an attempt at perfection, because Kershaw has never done that before.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Of course, we'd love to see Kershaw stay in the game and go after a perfect game because he's got a no-hitter. And so I think if it was a no-hitter, it's an easier decision, and it's one that I think fans would be a little bit less upset with. But the fact that there's under 30 perfect games in Major League Baseball history, Clayton Kershaw, one of the best pitchers of all time, he does not have a perfect game. If you're 6 outs away, and he was at a low pitch count too. Was it 80 pitches?
80 pitches through
80 pitches was pulled at, I think it was 12 or 13 strikeouts at that point. Yeah. And he was just dealing. And I was in class, my professor's a Dodgers fan, and his question was, why not at least let him go out there and start the 8th? And if he finishes the 8th in a low amount of pitches, because it's an interesting debate. I'll play devil's advocate for a little bit. I understand Dave Roberts' decision. Clayton Kershaw hurt a lot last year, has had a history of injuries in the past couple of years. The Dodgers would rather have him stay healthy for what's probably his last season in LA than have him throw a perfect game in his first start and maybe deal with arm injuries down the line. And Kershaw also came out and said that he had not pitched even that many pitches all of the offseason. So I understand limiting him to 80. Again, though, would have been really cool to see him go out and try to get a perfect game. But Alex Vesia, if you're coming in after your starting pitcher gets pulled, 7 innings, 80 pitches, a perfecto going, you cannot give up a hit to Gary Sanchez. Just cannot happen.
Playing devil's advocate to your devil's advocate. If he's staying at this pace, let's say he hypothetically gets a perfect game and throws around 100 pitches. I mean, you're high adrenaline, so you're not really feeling it, right? Those extra 20 pitches, and are those extra 20 pitches really gonna put that much of a damper on the rest of the season? Maybe, but I don't know.
We saw what happened last year in the playoffs with them and Max Scherzer. Like, even him just coming in to throw that one last inning against the Giants kind of sidelined him for the entire series against the Braves. And you just don't want to deal with fatigue and soreness and have him miss a couple starts and lose out on the conditioning that he's worked so hard to build back up to now after coming off the injury last year. Their rotation was already a little limited coming into the year. They've gotten great production from a lot of guys like Andrew Heaney, who I think we're going to talk about in a little bit. But still, I just think you play it safe. I understand it was going to be a perfect game, but it's also in the first 10 games of the season, you'd rather have a healthy Kershaw for a whole season than sell out and risk the potential of getting injured or fatigued down the season.
Yeah, and I guess that we could enough talk about that. I think we know where we both stand on that. We would have loved to see a perfect game. Kind of understand it, but
I'll say too, I love it because the more that Dave Roberts gets crapped on is so much more fun for me. Because now everyone was all hyped up, and you too, when he said like, guaranteed we're winning the World Series this year, and then and
I still guarantee it. Seeing this last week, we're talking about
game 7 or game 8, he pulls Kershaw with a perfect game, and now Dodgers fans are ready to fire him again.
I'm ready to back up his guarantee later this episode. But next thing we saw this week, we saw Seager intentionally walked with the bases loaded. But in that game, the Angels did win, so you can argue maybe it worked out. They avoided a big blow of the inning, but it was definitely a head scratcher. One thing I thought was funny is on the broadcast, Seager was like you could see he was a little confused, like, am I really getting walked? And then the camera shows Trout in center field, and he like looks to first, looks to second, looks third. He's like, wait, did that just happen? The bases are loaded right now. And so I thought that was funny. I was like, what is going on? We made a TikTok about it, so go follow our TikTok. But when I saw that, I was like, I don't know if it was like a post or a notification that I got. It's like, did I read that right? Did that actually just happen? So yeah, I mean, that was a head scratcher. Angels win the game though. So what were your thoughts on the Seager intentionally walk with the bases loaded?
That Trout part was the absolute highlight of it. It's like he woke up from a dream and was like wondering why Barry Bonds was standing in the batter's box at that point. Yeah, they won, sure. And I think that was in the TikTok. I was reading the comments about the one that you made, and everyone's saying, well, they won the game anyway. It doesn't really matter. That's not a good enough reason to validate a horrible coaching decision to walk Corey Seager with the bases loaded early in the game when like they were already like down 1 or 2.
They were down 1. It put them down 2.
Like, no sense. It makes no sense. Joe, I don't know what Joe Madden was thinking. He's not Barry Bonds. I know Corey Seager's a great hitter, but still a great hitter with the bases loaded. Like, you still want to try and get them out. You don't just give the Rangers a run, especially like, I just don't understand it at all. I don't understand even walking Barry Bonds with the bases loaded, let alone Corey Seager. So I don't get it. No disrespect to Corey Seager, but he's not Barry Bonds. He's not Josh Hamilton that season he was having, who also has been walked to the bases loaded. There was someone else too that I don't remember, but it just does not make any sense. I would have the same reaction as Corey Seager, and have the same reaction as Mike Trout out in right field.
I mean, to play a devil's advocate again, Corey Seager hits a grand slam, maybe you don't win the game. So maybe that decision does help them win the game.
At that point, I mean, anyone can hit a grand slam. Like, the next hitter can hit a grand slam, and then you're already down 2.
Well, yeah, but it's Corey Seager. It's like Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, and then the rest of the Rangers. So if you want to pitch to anyone,
but like
whoever was after
Seager is loaded anyways. Like,
what's that?
Like, everyone hits better with the bases loaded anyways. It's like across.
Well, yeah, but there's still talent. Like, if one guy's here, he hits better, they hit better. It's still better.
Okay, but if you're playing the numbers game, what's more likely? You get Corey Seager out in a myriad of ways, or he gets a hit. They at least play that game instead of giving him first base and giving the Rangers a run. I guarantee you that the win probability numbers or the advanced analytics would not have said that it's more likely, or that would like alter their win probability less if they walked him than if they pitched to Seager. Guarantee it.
Some you can't manage completely off analytics. Sometimes you got to go with your gut. They win the game. That's winning cures all.
They won their game because they ended up scoring like 7 runs. It's not because they.
And if you give up 3 more in that situation, maybe the 7 runs wasn't enough.
Take off the devil's advocate hat. Good call or bad call?
I wouldn't have done it.
There you go. Let's talk about Brett Phillips, because I think this was one of the highlights of the week. Unfortunately, we're going to try and get out 2 episodes a week, but when we only can get out 1, it's harder to talk about things because this happened way earlier in the past week. But Brett Phillips, the Rays utility man, every position on the field man now, the one who had that very clutch hit, I think it was game 6 against the Rays or against the Dodgers in the World Series, game 5.
Maybe even game 4.
Maybe it was. I remember that game was crazy, but I
was watching with you.
Yeah, that was funny. They brought him onto the mound to pitch. He ended up getting shelled, but he made the best play that we will see by a pitcher all year with a slide down the first base line on a pop-up where I swear he slid 3 seconds before he caught it and kept going. He looked like if you're sliding in a video game, and it was absolutely amazing. They put him out in right field, and a couple games later, he makes another diving catch. But Brett Phillips is like
robbed a bomb later that series too.
Yep. He's the ironic face of the Rays, one of the faces of baseball for some reason. He is just hilarious. He's fun to watch. You just cannot get enough of Brett Phillips.
Yeah, my favorite thing. That wasn't my favorite thing from his pitching appearance. It was great. It was a great play and really funny to see because he comes up 2 out, 2 down, 2 down. But my favorite thing was when he gave up the grand slam to Sheldon Noisy, and he puts his hands on his knees and like bends over like he just gave up a walk-off bomb in the World Series, not a grand slam.
Like he's an actual pitcher, not a position player.
Yeah, like when they're already down 9-2.
He just knows it's gonna hurt his career ERA.
It does. I don't know what he's sitting at now, but it's not what it was.
The Rays pitching factory is taking a big downturn. They're giving up grand slams left and right now.
Yep, to Sheldon Noisy.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on there was the more heartfelt Brett Phillips moment of the week, which I know you were a big fan of.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get into next. Brett Phillips, pregame, there was a girl with cancer. I forget her name, but I think it was her second battle with cancer. And she came in, threw out the first pitch to Brett Phillips, and before the game, gave a wristband to Brett Phillips. And then during the game, they were interviewing this girl in the stands while Brett Phillips was up, and Brett Phillips hit a bomb. And it was so fun to see. He's like, Brett Phillips just hit a home run. And then after the game, they interviewed Brett Phillips. Like they told him about how he hit the home run while they were interviewing her. And he got emotional. It was great to see. I love those moments. That's what baseball is all about. It's about interacting with the fans. It was great to see, heartfelt. And I love that moment. That was one of my favorite moments this past week.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great story. I love seeing those stories. I feel like baseball's the only sport where those kind of things come out. Being in a long season, games are a little bit more toned down compared to football or basketball games. There's a little bit more high intensity throughout the game, which not everyone's thing, but I think for us, it allows for those stories to come out. And I hope Brett Phillips doesn't take off that wristband because she said it would give him good luck, and he ends up hitting a home run with it on. Good. So I guess maybe she's right.
Yeah, and that was a great moment. And now moving on to our success out west. We saw Giants, Dodgers, and Angels all have a great week. What team you want to get into first?
Let's start with your Dodgers. We can go in order of how we've got it on the dock right now. Dodgers went 6-0 this week, which is the best of these 3 teams. The starting pitching 0.56 ERA in these games. They were great. Andrew Heaney was fantastic yesterday, which is when we're recording this. It would have been on Sunday against the Reds. They outscored the Twins in a 2-game series 14-2, outscored the Reds 26-7. They've been getting contributions from the top of their lineup in Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman, and then also Gavin Lux, Chris Taylor, even Cody Bellinger are hitting the ball around the yard. So Dodgers looking scary like we expected them to. I see no reason to expect them to slow down. And with the pitching is the big part because people were questioning their starting pitching, but they've gotten great performances from Heaney, and then you've already got you have Urias and Buehler at the top.
Yeah, so 6 games, they went through the rotation once, and Heaney pitched twice. And starting at the beginning, Heaney pitched great. I don't remember how many Ks, but he had close to double-digit Ks if not double digit, in the first game against the Twins where they win that game. That game was very long. It was rain delay. They ended up scoring a big inning right before the delay. And then the second game, we talked about that. That was Kershaw's gem. So they end up taking 2 in Minnesota. Then they go for their home debut. The bats come alive. They scored 9 runs in 2 of the 4 games, and the pitching was dominant again. Urias went 5, 1 hit. Buehler had a good start. Kershaw pitched well again. Kershaw pitched tonight. Kershaw didn't pitch again. Heaney pitched great, like we talked about. So, I mean, Dodgers pitching showed up. Offense showed up. Freddie went 4 for 5 on Sunday. And in the first game, Dodger Stadium was chanting his name, which was cool to see. And like Bellinger's been hitting well. He's hitting like 280 on the season now. Gavin Lux has been hitting great. Trey Turner had a bomb in one of the games that put them ahead. So it's great to see pitching's doing well. Bullpen pitched well when they came in. And Dodgers, I'm doubling down. 2022 champs, give us the ring now. It's over.
So yeah, Dodgers are tied for the best record in baseball. Tied with them, San Francisco Giants. They went 5-1 this week. They lost game 1 against the Padres, but ended up coming back, winning games 2 and 3. Game 2, they put up 13 runs, beat them 13-2. Did not take the pedal off the metal, which is has caused some interesting debates, which we can settle on once I kind of get through the recap. Game 3, Logan Webb pitched one of the more dominant pitching performances of the year. This was right after Kershaw got pulled after 7 innings. I remember texting you when Webb completed 8 innings saying, well, at least one of our guys can get through the 8th. But Logan Webb, 8 innings, 1 earned run, which he gave up in the first, ended up finishing with 7 strikeouts, no walks. First pitcher to pitch 8 innings this year. But the big part for me was even after giving up a run in the first, he retired 22 of the last 24 hitters. Camilo Doval came in for the save. The Giants won that one 2-1. And then they go into Cleveland to face the Guardians. This is their first time in Cleveland since 2008. So none of the homegrown players on the Giants had ever played in Cleveland, including Brandon Belt and Brandon Crawford. This is their first time playing in that stadium, first time homering for both of them as well. Belt homered in game 3 of the series, and Crawford homered in game 1. That was his first bomb of the year. But the Guardians coming into that series in their last 4 games had put up 44 runs across 4 games. They scored 4 runs in 3 games. Giants dominated, swept, which is one of my series locks. They had a great week, still like tied with the Dodgers. It looks like we're going to get another great race between the two.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of covered it all with the Giants. I was able to watch bits and pieces of that series. But yeah, I mean, you kind of covered it all. I watched the end of that one where Logan Webb shoved and Camilo Doval. I mean, you got a little sweaty there, but he pulled it out. They got the win. And then the other team out west that did great this week was the Angels. They went 5-1 this week. They took 3 of 4 from the Rangers and took 2 from the Marlins in a 2-game series. Shohei hit 3 bombs. We saw 2 in that one game. I think the second one, he had the epic bat flip and gets the cowboy hat. I like that celebration.
I'm not like tied down to any of the specific ones, like the ones where they in Boston where they put him in the cart. That's a good one. There's the jacket out in Toronto. The cowboy hat might be my favorite though.
I do like the cowboy hat. And then Trout hit that monster bomb, 470 feet. He did get hurt. Thankfully, the x-rays are negative on that one. He's considered day-to-day right now. And then pitching came through, especially Syndergaard. Through 2 starts, he's looking like an ace. He's got 1.59 ERA, but his start, he went 6 innings, 2 earned, 4 Ks. So he's pitching well for the Angels. Could be a great help. If Syndergaard pitches well this season, I mean, look out for the Angels, especially if that offense stays healthy. And now they've got a big series against the Astros. We saw them in the opening series. They lost 3 of 4 to the Astros. So, I mean, they beat up on the Marlins and the Rangers, but interesting to see what they can do against the Astros this week, another top of the division team.
Yeah, I've been impressed with the Angels because while the Rangers and the Marlins aren't the cream of the crop in baseball, they've given some teams some trouble this year. The Rangers put up a battle against the Blue Jays. They scored a lot of runs, but the fact that they were able to take 3 out of 4 of 4-game series, which in itself is a big accomplishment. You rarely see those 4-game series kind of end up as much other than a 2-2 split. So to take 3 of 4, very good. That was on the road too, so that was big. And then the Marlins, they beat the Phillies, one of your series locks, 3 out of 4 games, and they gave the Giants some fits in the first series of the year. So taking 2 of 2 from the Marlins, I know it's the Rangers and the Marlins. We're used to considering them the bottom feeders in baseball, but both teams have gotten better recently. Both teams have given some good teams some trouble this year. So impressed with the Angels. I said after Shohei Ohtani's first TikTok, or his first bomb, I made a TikTok saying, like, don't let this guy get going. He finishes 3 bombs in those 2 games, and now he's 3 on the season. He crushes them. Like, his homers are never wall scrapers. Trout's was neither at 472, but those 2 guys are guys that you really never see their home runs just eke out. They're always long gone, no doubters. It's really interesting because that's not very common among hitters.
And one thing with the Angels, we saw their broadcasting struggles. There was a few of those, which those are funny to see. But I saw something this morning. They're planning an emergency trip for Matt Vasgersian and the other Angels broadcaster to go to Houston starting today, I think. So they're going to be at the games this week. So I think that's kind of done. But we saw some funny moments with that as well. I don't know if we want to get into that.
Yeah, I'd love to. It's really funny because when they're not actually in the stadium, there's just a whole ton of things that can go wrong. It started, Jared Walsh hits a home run that right off the bat, Matt Vasgersian says, and it goes foul. Oh wait, it's a home run. And then in game, I think it was the last game of the series. It might have been yesterday, or I think it was game 2. I don't remember who was up, but there was a pitch coming from Verlander, and the camera just stopped. Like, it just froze.
That was the Rangers series from Taylor Hearn.
Oh yeah. The camera just froze, and Vasgersian didn't really say anything. And then the camera unfreezes, and the guy's already in the dugout. And Vasgersian goes, and a strikeout ends the inning. It was just, they got to start going on the road.
Yeah, Vasgersian, he goes, and Hearn with a really long pause, and then it unfreezes, and he struck out.
Yeah, I mean, if he's pausing on you for that long, you got to call time. And he obviously wore him down with his 20-second long pause. That was not the worst broadcasting miscue of the week, though. Did you see the Stanton one?
Yes. Stanton with a drive. It is far. It is deep. It is gone. Oh, it's caught.
He just says, but it's gone, but caught. Like that, you can't have both. It was interesting. And that Stanton's the one where, like, all the balls he hits look like homers. So I would understand. I'm not sure whether that broadcaster was there or not. Let's, for his sake, hope he was on the road and doesn't see that the ball's coming down into the glove. And it wasn't even like to the warning track. It was like kind of a routine fly ball, but Stanton always hits them where they look like towering moonshots to get out by 800 feet. And that was a radio call too, I believe. So anyone listening on the radio wouldn't have seen it be caught either. So I guess he gets helped by that. But yeah, that was not good.
Yeah, I think that's all. We had some great success out west. And so now we want to get into our overreactions from the first week. We're going to give an overreaction, and then we're going to give our opinion, whether we think it's an overreaction or not. Jack, you want to get into the first one?
So yeah, this is like an idea that I've seen a lot of people cover, but unfortunately we were thinking about doing this after the first week, decided to push it back to this week. And we saw like MLB the day after MLB.com wrote an article about it. So we're not trying to steal any ideas here. It's an idea we had. But also it's not that sophisticated of an idea where we're trying to trademark it or anything.
Better sample size after the first week.
Yeah, exactly. So the idea is coming up with things that could be considered overreactions. Like if you're just watching 1 week of baseball, some summaries or things that you would come out with, and we're deciding if is an overreaction, is it not an overreaction? So our first one, despite the lack of talent, the Rockies and A's can compete this season. Right now, the A's sitting at 5-5 and the Rockies sitting at 6-3. Do you think it's an overreaction, or do you think it is not an overreaction?
I think it's an overreaction. I think the Rockies will compete in the games that they play. Like, they'll have some tight games and they're going to win some. But I think their overall record at the end of the year, it won't look like they competed. They won't be last place. But I think the T-backs will be last in that division. But the Rockies won't be too far behind. And then the A's just suck. They took 3 of 4 from the Rays, which I know we both were wrong about. So that one kind of sucked for us, but I don't see the A's doing a lot this over the course of a long season. They sit at 5-5 right now, but I don't see that 500 record sustaining over a course of 162.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an overreaction. The Rockies, I think they're not horrible. Like, I think they're an okay team. That's why I didn't want to put them too far down in our power rankings that we did going into the season.
Yeah,
But they're still not a good team. They've got some good pieces. I like Chris Bryant. I like CJ Cron a lot. He hit an absolutely massive home run onto the concourse at Coors Field. I think he's tied for the league lead in homers so far. Connor Joe's hitting the ball well. Whether that keeps up, I'm not quite sure. They've got guys like Brendan Rodgers, Ryan McMahon. They don't have Raimel Tapia anymore, but they've got serviceable pieces around, but they're not going to be 6-3. They're not going to win 2/3 of their games. They're going to take a step back, especially once they start playing some better teams further into the season. Yeah, they took 2-3 from the Dodgers. Are they going to sustain that? Probably not. And they're going to have to play the Giants. They'll play the Dodgers. They'll play the Padres. It's a tough division to continue the success they've been having. And the A's 5-5 is better than we thought. But the fact that they're 5-5 while scoring the most runs in the league so far should tell you a lot about the A's. First of all, you're not going to be able to sustain scoring the most runs in the league. And if you can only win half your games while scoring the most runs, you're probably not that good of a team. The A's will fall off a cliff. I can pretty much guarantee it. So I think if you're watching so far and you're looking at the standings and saying, oh, the A's are 5-5, maybe they're not going to be as bad as we thought. Oh, the Rockies are 6-3. Maybe they'll push for the playoffs. Take a step back. Probably an overreaction to the first week.
Yeah, and our next overreaction is Stephen Kwan is the AL Rookie of the Year, and the Guardians aren't as bad as we think, and maybe we're sleeping on them. What do you think about that one?
So I'm going to go with partial overreaction. I think half of it's an overreaction. I think half of it isn't. I think Stephen Kwan, it's probably an overreaction to say he's the AL Rookie of the Year so far, or will be by the end of the season. Don't get me wrong. He's a great player. He's got a great hit tool. He does not swing and miss at all. He's only swung and missed like 3 times in his career so far, or since September of last year. Great player, hitting for extra base hits and everything like that. But he just does not hit the ball hard. Like, he does not barrel it up. He does not hit the ball hard. Right now, he's in the 6th percentile average exit velocity, only 25th percentile max exit velocity, which all of those like guys who win Rookie of the Year, the young phenoms, are 95 plus in max exit velocity. Stephen Kwan at 25th percentile, really low barrel rate, but he's still, like I said, he's still a good player. AL Rookie of the Year, though, I think is an overreaction so far, though. Tons of respect for the streak that he went on. He's going to be down in the record book so far for reaching base in a first set number of games. So Stephen Kwan, great player. I like what he's been doing so far, but not Rookie of the Year. I do, however, think we're sleeping on the Guardians a little bit. I know that I had them at 80 and 82, and I'm not sleeping on them like as a team, but I think their lineup is not as good as I would have given them credit for coming into the year. We know Jose Ramirez, he's insane. I think he's even better than a lot of people think. I still think he's one of the more underrated players in the league. 16 hits so far, 3 homers, 15 RBIs through only 9 games. So a tremendous season for him so far, and I'm sure he keeps it up like he always does. Owen Miller, though, a guy who if you told me Owen Miller was a baseball player coming into the year, I would have not been able to tell you who he played for, what position he played for, or who he was, but he's hitting 500 so far, 2 home runs. He does not strike out, got a 91st percentile sprint speed. All of his hits are not cheapies. He's had a lot of extra base hits. I was able to watch a lot of the Guardians when they played the Giants this week, and though they didn't score many runs, I mean, these guys were producing. I think it's more of a testament to Giant pitching, which we'll get to later. Lots of extra base hits. They've got guys like Miles Straw, who's a good leadoff hitter. Franmil Reyes is going to pick back up and start hitting for power. Oscar Mercado, Ahmed Rosario, they're solid bats. So I think that, yeah, we're not sleeping on the Guardians maybe as a whole because we respected their pitching, but I know for me, their lineup is better than I thought it would be coming into this year.
Yeah, I had this one down as an overreaction. I don't think Stephen Kwan will win Rookie of the Year. You kind of touched on it, the advanced stats, but I mean, he hit like 800 the first week of this first few games of the season, went like 8 for 10 to start the career. And he's already down to, I think, like 350, which is still great to start a season. But I mean, you look at where he was, it's a big drop off. And I think he'll continue to decline. I think he'll hit like around 250 is my guess by the end of the season. He'll get on base a lot, but he won't hit for a lot of power. And I don't think he wins Rookie of the Year. And as for the Guardians, I don't really think we're sleeping on them. I think, like you said, we both had them at 80 and 82 to start the season. I think that's probably respectable. Maybe you're right about the lineup. Maybe that helps them win a few more games, and there are a few games above 500. And maybe we both had them in third behind the Twins, but maybe it's enough to beat the Twins and get second, but they're still not a playoff team. And I just don't think we're sleeping on them that much. Maybe a few games, but that's so minuscule.
I think if you add one or two more bats to their lineup, maybe after a free agency this year, and shore up the bullpen a little bit more, because the Giants definitely took advantage of their bullpen this past season, this team could start to mold into one of those teams that can compete. Again, I like their base. Like I mentioned before, they saw the Giants, they scored 44 runs in 4 games. So there's definitely potential there. I like some of the guys there. Like I said, they've got some pieces that I think people need to realize are pretty good, like Stephen Kwan and Miles Straw and Owen Miller, and everyone knows Jose Ramirez. But I think they're a better team than I would have given them credit for offensively coming into the year. We'll see if they keep it up. The next one that we've got is the Mets. After 9 games, should be the NL East favorites with their success and the Braves' mediocrity so far. Ryan, overreaction or not an overreaction?
I had not necessarily an overreaction. I think if you were to think this, I think you'd be right in some aspects. I don't know if I call them favorites. I think it's probably a toss-up for the NL East right now. The Braves will definitely pick it up. They've got reinforcements coming with Acuna in a few weeks, and then Soroka at some point down the line to help the pitching. But I think they'll figure it out. They'll start to win more games. We saw a slow start last season, and getting Acuna back will help. I like it for the Mets. They've played great, and they've got DeGrom coming back. And I wouldn't say it's an overreaction if you think they're going to win the division, but I think the Braves will pick it up. And I don't know if they're clear favorites. I think they most certainly can win this division, but right now I wouldn't call them clear favorites.
I understand that. For me, I'm going with not an overreaction. I had them as the favorites in this division coming into the year. I had them winning, even if it's only by a narrow margin. I think that they are better than the Braves. I think that they've proved it so far this season. Yes, you're right. The Braves will get Acuna and they'll get Soroka back, but also the Mets will get DeGrom back. So again, the Mets having a great start to the season. Their starting pitching so far, I think, has like a 0.56 ERA, and that's without the best pitcher in baseball and Jacob DeGrom. And the starting pitcher for them with the worst ERA is Max Scherzer, which is not going to keep up. The Mets have had a great start so far. The bats have pitched well. Their bullpen, I think, needs to tighten up if they want to stay in the lead in this division and stay as a high-ranking seed in the National League. We saw them blow that one lead to the Phillies, which if you're going to be blowing leads, especially to division rivals, you're not going to be as secure of a spot at the top of the division. But the Braves have had some struggles to open up the season, and the Mets have really crushed it out of the gate. I think that there will be a little bit of return to the mean for both sides. The Mets maybe take a smaller step back. I don't think they're going to win 7 of every 9 games, and starting pitching will look like no runs every single game. And I think the Braves will, especially when they get Acuna and Soroka back, they're going to come back and become a little bit of a better team. But right now, I don't think it's an overreaction if you say that the Mets should be the favorites in the National League East. I sure think so. We'll see what happens to both of these teams when they get their big guns back in DeGrom and Acuna.
Yeah, you covered all that. Sorry, I had a little diversion here, but yeah, I mean, we covered it. I think, yeah, they definitely can win this division. Next overreaction is Gerrit Cole lost his groove, and I think we have differing opinions on this one. Do you think Gerrit Cole has kind of lost it this season or no?
I think that it is an overreaction. I think it's too early to judge a pitcher after 2 starts. Like I said, I thought that fans were overreacting to his 1 start in the playoffs last year against the Red Sox because he had a great season, and everyone just started to think he just wasn't that good after that 1 start. He started off this season not pitching all that well, including giving up 2 home runs to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Earlier this week, and Vlad hit another one against, I think it was Loaizaga.
Yeah.
And so he ended up with a 3 home run game. I just think that people are overreacting to a couple of bad starts from Gerrit Cole. We've seen him like this at times where he's got starts where he just doesn't have it. But throughout the season, he always returns back to his normal self, puts up a ERA around 3 or under 3, great expected stats, strong amount of strikeouts. His whip is still at 1 so far this season, despite 2 bad starts. I think that he's going to positively regress back to who he normally is. People might be overreacting to a couple of bad starts.
I don't really think this one's an overreaction. I think it's a effect of Spider Cole, if you will. I don't think he'll be this bad. We saw two extreme, not super extreme, but we saw two bad starts, and I think he'll return a little bit. He'll be a better pitcher, but I don't know about Cy Young caliber like he's been in the past. This continuous downfall last year, pre-crackdown, pre-sticky stuff crackdown. He is at 11 starts, 36.9 K percentage, 3.4 walk percentage, 1.77 field and independent pitching, which was a 1.78 ERA. And post crackdown, 19 games, his K percentage dropped down to 31.3, walk percentage raised to 6.9, and the fielding independent pitching was at 3.31 with a 4.15 ERA. And the reason I mentioned fielding and independent pitching was because the Yankees were the 25th in outs above average last season, so they were one of the worst defensive teams. But I mean, those stats you see, they get worse, and they get worse by quite a large margin. And I think, and when we saw like kind of it all blow up in the wild card game, and then this first two starts of the season haven't been great. So I think he won't be this bad for an entire season. He will get better, but I don't know about what he's been in the past.
I mean, like still a 3.31 FIP, which that's still really good. So I don't know.
But it's not what he's been.
That's true. I'm not saying he's going to be like go scorched earth on the entire league, but I don't know. I still think that he's going to return to his normal self. He'll put himself in that Cy Young race. I would not have had him as a Cy Young in the National League, but the AL doesn't have the same caliber of starting pitching that the National League does. I still think he's going to be up there. I'm pretty confident he'll finish in top 3 like he always does in the American League. It's 2 starts. If we see a couple more, maybe I'll change my tune a little bit, but it's only been 2 starts. It was only 1 start last year in the playoffs. People are really overreacting to. So I'm just going to put the brakes on a little bit, reassess after a couple of starts. Sticking on the pitching side, though, the next one is the Giants have the best rotation in baseball. And I'm going to go out and say right away, not even biasedly, I don't think it's an overreaction. They have had a tremendous start to the year. Through 9 starts, the Giants have, especially after Woods' outing yesterday, they become only the second team since 1901 to begin a season with 9+ starts of 2 or fewer runs by their starting pitching. And some of those starts have been absolutely dominant. Webb in the opening day game was great. Rodon the next day was absolutely lethal, 12 Ks, and those two did it again this last weekend. We talked about Webb, but Rodon went, I think it was 7+, still coming close to 10 strikeouts. He was, I want to say, maybe the highest scoring fantasy baseball pitcher last week, considering how well he threw. We've seen that when healthy, he can be one of the best starters in the league like he was last year. If he had stayed healthy for the entire season, he could have been the AL Cy Young, got some of the best stuff in the league. And I really like how the Giants mix and match their starters, where you face Webb and he's heavy sinkers in on your hands, backdoor sinkers, changeup, slider, just moving the ball all around. And then you're getting big country hardball, Carlos Rodon throwing fastballs above the zone at 99, and you just can't catch up to him after facing Webb. And then you go to Alex Wood or DeSclafani, the 3 starter, who is a little bit softer, a little bit more accurate when he's on his game. He's probably my least favorite of the Giants starters, but he's still been able to get it done. Had like a 3 ERA last season. Had a great year. Alex Wood, incredibly efficient. He goes late into games. He's accurate. He knows how to pitch to MLB hitters. We saw him yesterday carve up the Guardians. He controls better than most pitchers in the league. And then Alex Cobb, I think, is that next breakout guy. He was a StatCast darling last year. People expected him to break out this season. He's only had 1 start this year. We'll see how he throws today against the Mets. But he's throwing that splitter more often, struck out 10 in his first start. I really like what I've seen from the Giants so far. Yeah. Are there some other good rotations? Yes. The Mets have been great so far. The Rays will always be in that discussion, the Dodgers, even the Guardians, but I think the Giants have a case. And right now I'd say they're the best top to bottom 1 to 5 rotation in baseball.
I'd say this one is an overreaction. If you tell me they're one of the best, sure, they're one of the best. Are they the best? I don't think so. Has it? If you can also say it, has it been the best so far through 9 to 10 games in the season? Maybe. I might give that one to you, but I think over the course of the season, the Mets and Brewers will have a better rotation, especially when DeGrom comes back. And Brewers, while they struggled the first time through. I still think they're the better rotation. Can't judge that off one start. And I think Giants will be debated between the Dodgers, White Sox, and maybe the Blue Jays through 3-5. I think the Brewers and Mets are probably the 1-2 for sure. I think maybe the Giants can be the third best by the time it's all said and done, but I don't think they're the best rotation in baseball right now.
I just think right now, with the way that we've seen Webb pitch in the post last year down the stretch and the postseason, and then also seeing that it wasn't a fluke in his first two starts, he's one of the best pitchers in the league. I mean, I'd say easily a top 10 starting pitcher if you're making a list right now. Rodon, if he can stay healthy, proved last year that when healthy, he was one of the best pitchers in the league, and through two starts this year has done. He's maybe been the best starting pitcher so far. I know Kershaw's only had one start and had a near perfect game, but through two starts, been dominant. Guys up there like Dylan Cease. I'm trying to think, like Tyler McGill hasn't given up a run yet, but yeah, projection wise, Carlos Rodon has had a fantastic season. And I think of those guys on the list was projected to maybe have the best season of those names. So hopefully he can stay healthy. And then this is what they get from the rest of the guys from 1-5. I think that they have the strongest rotation. I think the Brewers got the better 1-3 probably, but we've seen Freddie Peralta struggle this year. We've seen Brandon Woodruff struggle a bit this year. Corbin Burns and Logan Webb have similar arsenals. Again, I'm not going to say Logan Webb's better than Corbin Burns, but I'm saying from 1-5, do the Giants have the best rotation in baseball? I honestly think yes.
All right. Well, that kind of finishes up our overreactions. I think you know where I'm going to stand on that one. But let us know what you guys thought about these overreactions. Give us some other maybe overreactions or hot takes in the comments. We'll respond to them. We'll let you know if we think it's an overreaction or not. But yeah, you want to.
One more question before we move on. One more question before we move on.
What's your question?
Dodgers or Giants? Who has a better rotation?
Too early to tell.
Too early to tell. All right.
I think need to see a couple more starts. Like you said, Giants have performed better. I'd say the Giants have performed better just because you've had like some good but not great starts from Buehler. Urias kind of had a blow up start in his first game. Gonsolin's been okay. So maybe the Giants have been better, but I think maybe on paper, I don't know, bias would give it to the Dodgers.
All right. I understand that. Yeah, let's get into series locks because I want to punish you for saying the Giants don't have the best rotation in baseball. And we're going to get to the punishment for those of you guys that maybe need to brush up on the rules or who this is your first episode. What we're going to do is we pick series locks every week. So maximum of 1 or maximum of 5, minimum of 1 pick for the week. If you get a series right, it is 1 point. If you get a series wrong, it's -1 point. A sweep for you is +2. A sweep against you is -2. If you go under 500 in a week, you face a punishment. Last week, Ryan went under 500. A tough week for him. We both had the Rays over the A's, which surprisingly did not happen even in a 4-game series. The Rays lost 3 of the 4 games. So we both lost a point for that. But Ryan also lost a point having Yankees over Orioles with a big pull through win from the Orioles in game 3. The Marlins dominated the Phillies, won 3 of 4. The one that you did get right was Mets over D-backs, but you took a big slide down, -2 points on the week. And I had lost the Rays over the A's. Astros tied the D-backs in the 2-game set. Giants swept the Guardians. So I got +1 points. Right now I'm ahead 3-1, and you have to face a punishment. I put it on TikTok, put it on our Instagram to ask you guys for some punishment ideas. I ended up settling on the idea I had last week for you, which was a freestyle rap about your picks this week. Like I said, so Ryan's going to get into his rap, but next time one of us has a punishment, if you want to be involved in the punishment idea making, whether it's me or him, we're going to put it on TikTok. We're going to put it on Instagram. We need your guys' help to come up with those. But Ryan, the floor is yours. It's an open mic. Please drop your bars.
All right, I'll get right into it. Let me get a beat going. How about that?
A beat. All right.
Let me go over this beat. Oh my goodness, I can't find it now. Here it is. All right, so just give me a second.
What's your stage name? What's your rapper name?
Lil Don.
Lil Don. All right.
Lil Don on the mic. All right, let's get into this. All right. Oh, hang on. Let me pull up the pics on my computer so I know who I'm rapping about. All right, here we go. Let's get the beat going. All right. Shout out Jack for this one. Here we go. Super hot. I'm not a rapper. Rays over A's. That was last week. Yeah, that's -1. Phillies over Marlins. Now that didn't hit. Yankees over O's. Yeah, the Yankees suck. I ran out of luck. This week I ain't need no luck. Here we go. Brewers over Pirates. Yeah, that's gonna hit. If it don't hit, I'll be irate. Pick number 2. Cardinals over Reds. Reds gonna lose. They gonna need a res. Yeah, the way I make these raps sound like a prezi. Yeah, in my pockets, all you see is dead prezzies. Oh! Pick number 3. This the last pick on the week. Mets over D-backs. Yeah, that picks again. Yeah, that's number 3. I'm gonna win this week. I'm gonna get some points. Like I said, I am not a rapper, but I'm the hottest in this joint.
That was good. I'll clap it up for that one.
Spitting. Oh my God, Lil Don on the mic.
SoundCloud, here we come.
Shee.
That was good. I like the beat, presentation, the sunglasses, everything. Hats off.
How did I look? I had the dock on. I couldn't see myself.
No,
did I look like I was
good.
spitting?
It was good, yeah. TikTok and Twitter and Instagram will find out how good it was.
I'm sweating. That was.
Well, if you don't want to have to do it again, don't go under 500. But that was fun.
Yankees let me down.
Yeah, when you rhyme there, you said that Yankees suck. It didn't really rhyme with what you said earlier, but I'll give you.
Well, the Yankees suck with starting a new one. I said I ran out of luck.
Okay. You know what? Respect. I don't think I could do that well if I had to freestyle rap. My plan is to not go under 500, so you don't have to find out how bad that would be. I like your picks. I don't know whether I should go with the same ones as you because of how bad you were last week, but I'm going to go with Brewers and Pirates as well. 3-game series. You've got Burns and Woodruff in 2 and 3. So I think that those two in their third starts of the year will be able to settle down. Pirates, one of the worst teams in the league. I also have the Mariners over the Royals. Robbie Ray pitching game 3, which could be a possible rubber match or could go to seal a sweep. Royals have been okay this year, but I think they kind of run into a hot team in the Mariners. And then the final one, I'm going with the Giants again. They're playing the Nationals. They've got Wood, Cobb, and then Webb in game 3. I'm feeling confident about that one.
My adrenaline's still going.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick the Dodgers this week. They got them some tough matchups. They got Braves starting tonight. That'll be a great series to watch. Can't lock that one in. And then Dodgers over Padres. Can't quite lock that.
I legitimately thought about it, but the pitching wasn't exactly what I wanted to see because you're going to have to face Darvish and Manaea, which I don't understand why they're throwing Musgrove in as their 3 starter. He was so good for them last year.
Yeah, I couldn't lock those ones in against Dodgers. See it. I'll definitely come up in the future, probably next week. I don't know who they have coming up on the schedule. They got a series with the Giants coming up. I know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get to one of those games because it's I think like just right before I leave. Oh, Giants and Mets has been postponed. That sucks.
But yeah, those are some good picks. Hopefully, I never go under 500 again because that was embarrassing.
Yeah,
and I know everyone is gonna see that, and I know I'll get a lot of people letting me know how my rapping was, and
I think they'll commend Lil Don.
Probably tell me to not quit my day job.
Yeah,
judging off my flow, but I think I had some bars.
The bars were good. The flow, I would say, solid 6 out of 10.
I'm not a rapper.
No. Let us know what you guys thought of Ryan's rap. And next time, if we're gonna have a punishment, we want to hear from you guys about what you want because like these punishments are kind of for you guys. So we want to hear what you guys
for the entertainment
want to see us do. And this summer we're going to be in person doing episodes. So sky's the limit. I'm just thinking of all the horrible things that can be done on an episode as a punishment. But how about this? Since you're such a good rapper, you want to rap the outro?
No, I don't want to rap.
You don't want to rap the outro?
No, I don't.
What if we duet rap the outro?
Oh my gosh. Fine, you go and kick it off.
All right. You talk about something baseball while I think of the opening line.
This week, I mean, I know we've got some good games this week. Make sure you guys are tuning into some baseball. This week, or next week, I'm going to a Rangers game. My first time going to game in the new stadium. But we've got some good baseball coming up. We had a game already this morning, actually. Twins and Red Sox. I was watching that one a little. It's Patriots Day in Boston. My brother ran the Boston Marathon today, so great job for him. I'm proud of him. He put up a great time. So that was a lot of fun. My family's in Boston to support him rather. But yeah, Twins got the win. Dylan Bundy, he's 2-0 on the year with a .87 ERA. So Twins, I don't know. They're 4-6 now. They lost 2 to the Dodgers. So see what the Twins can do. Buxton's out a week. Hopefully he comes back soon. But Jack, you got us with this opening line yet?
Yeah, I got you. All right. I'm also not a rapper, so don't flame me too hard. But all right, if you're on YouTube, hit the like if you're a cool dude.
Ooh.
Then also hit subscribe to become part of the tribe.
Oh, money. Make sure you follow them socials. We gonna keep you up to date. We the freshest around. I think that's it.
We are pretty great.
Yeah.
If you're on Apple or Spotify,
leave a 5-star review
because we're super fire.
Hey,
I think we're gonna retire for this episode. Thank y'all for listening with your ears. Bars.
That was horrible, but
yes, sir.
We've been the Double Play Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Like we said, leave a like and subscribe. And until next time, it's been great.
Stream Lil Don on SoundCloud.
It's been fresh.
It's been absolutely fire.
It's been boss.
Bars.